The spaceport on Veltra 9 was always busy. Ships from many worlds landed and took off. Humans, aliens, robots, all walked the halls, doing business, fixing engines, or just passing time. One of the best mechanics there was a human named Jax. Jax was young, smart, and had a good heart. He didn't talk much, but he always helped anyone who needed repairs. He had tools hanging from his belt and a thin layer of grease always on his fingers. Most people liked him. Some aliens didn't trust humans, but Jax didn't mind. He believed actions spoke louder than words. One day, something strange happened. An alien ship landed near Jax's repair bay. It was slim, silver, and shaped like a long arrow. The ship was beautiful, but clearly damaged. The left thruster was smoking and the wing panel was loose. As the ramp came down, Jax stopped working and looked up. Out stepped a tall alien girl. She had smooth, pale blue skin that shimmered in the sunlight. Her eyes were large and silver, and her hair floated gently around her head like it was underwater. Her name was Lyra, though Jax didn't know it yet. She walked toward him slowly, holding a small translator cube in her hand. "Human mechanic?" she asked softly. Jax nodded and stood up. "That's me. Looks like your thruster's nearly fried." She tilted her head. "Can you fix it?" "Of course," he said with a grin. "But you'll have to wait a bit. I'm working on this cargo." "Haul her first." "I will wait," she replied, and sat on a nearby bench, her gaze never leaving Jax. For the next 2 hours, Jax worked while Lyra watched. She didn't say much. She just studied him, how he moved, how he solved problems, and how he smiled at others. Finally, Jax finished the hauler and walked over to her. "All right, your turn," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "What happened to your ship?" "There was a meteor storm. I flew through it to save time," she answered. "Risky move," Jax said with a chuckle. "Come on, show me the damage." Lyra walked him to the ship. The thruster was worse than he thought. It would take at least 4 hours to fix, but Jax didn't complain. He liked a good challenge. As he worked, Lyra stayed close, asking questions. "Why do you use your hands so much? What's that tool called?" "Do all humans fix machines like you?" Jax answered each question patiently. He didn't know much about Lyra's species, only that they were from a quiet world far away, and they rarely left it. They didn't show emotions often, and they rarely trusted outsiders. Still, Jax liked her voice. It was calm and soft, like a song, and her curiosity made him smile. At one point, while adjusting a power coil, Jax's hand slipped and he cut his finger. "Ow!" he muttered. Lyra quickly reached out and touched his hand. Her touch was warm and gentle. "You are hurt." "It's just a scratch," Jax said, smiling through the pain. But Lyra frowned. She took out a small healing patch from her belt and placed it on his finger. "You are strange, human," she said. "You laugh when you are hurt." Jax shrugged. "Pain is part of the job." Lyra looked down, her face unreadable. Then she said something unexpected. "You are special." Jax looked up. "Huh?" Lyra's silver eyes widened. Her translator cube beeped softly. She had said something in her own language. Then the cube repeated her words in Basic. "I love you." Everything went silent. Jax blinked. "Wait, what?" Lyra froze. Her eyes went even wider. Her blue cheeks turned a deep violet, her version of blushing. I didn't mean, that is not what she stammered. "It's okay," Jax said, standing up. "What did you mean to say?" But Lyra didn't answer. Instead, she turned and ran, fast and light like a breeze. She rushed up the ramp of her ship and disappeared inside. The ramp closed behind her with a hiss. Jax stood alone, tools in hand, staring at the silent ship. "Did that really just happen?" he whispered to himself. Jax spent the next hour cleaning his tools, but his mind wasn't on the work. He kept thinking about what she said. "I love you." It was clear she hadn't meant to say it. Maybe it was a translation error. Maybe it meant something else in her language, but the way she ran, the way she hid her face, it felt real. He looked over at the ship again. It was still locked, silent. No sign of Lyra. Jack sighed. He wasn't sure what to do. Should he knock on her door? Wait for her to come out? Or just forget the whole thing? But deep inside, he didn't want to forget. He wanted to know why those words slipped out, and why she looked so scared. Far inside the ship, Lyra sat in a small room, her face buried in her hands. Her heart was beating fast. "I said it," she whispered. "I said the forbidden words." In her culture, saying, "I love you," was not casual. It was rare, sacred. It meant more than just liking someone. It meant choosing them forever. It meant trust, bond, and a promise of loyalty. And she had said it by accident. Lyra didn't even know why the words had come. Maybe it was the way Jack smiled. Maybe it was his kindness, or the way he treated her not as an alien, but as a person. But now she felt shame, fear. What if he laughed? What if he told others? Still, deep in her heart, she didn't regret it. Not really. Jax sat alone outside the alien ship, tools by his side and a confused look on his face. He had fixed many engines before. He had spoken to aliens from dozens of worlds, but never in his life had someone, especially an alien, accidentally confessed, love and run away. And now, inside that sleek silver ship, the girl who said those words was hiding. Jack scratched his head. "What just happened?" he said out loud. He stood up and walked slowly toward the ship. The ramp was still closed. He didn't want to scare her. He didn't want to make her feel worse, so he tapped gently on the hull. "Hey, Lyra," he said. "It's me, Jax, just checking in." No answer. He waited a moment, then placed his hand gently on the side of the ship. "I didn't laugh. I didn't run. I'm still here." Still, silence. With a quiet sigh, he stepped back and walked away. He knew he couldn't force her to come out. He could only wait. Later that night, Jack sat in the corner of a diner inside the spaceport. A bowl of steaming noodles sat untouched in front of him. His eyes were focused on a small holographic screen floating above the table. It showed information about Lyra's species, the Sireni. They were known for their grace, silence, and strict traditions. They rarely left their home planet. Sireni did not show emotion in public. They valued control, logic, and respect. Love, it said, was a sacred word among them. "Sireni do not speak of love easily," the entry read. "To say I love you is to offer one's heart, deeply and forever." Jax leaned back and stared at the screen. "She meant it," he whispered, "and now she's scared." He pushed the noodles aside. He wasn't hungry anymore. All he could think about was how to help her, how to reach her. He decided to visit someone who knew more about alien culture than a screen ever could. The next morning, Jax walked into a quiet building on the edge of the port, the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Center. Inside were rooms full of books, records, and alien scholars. He asked for help and was soon sitting across from a wrinkled old woman with dark green skin and glowing blue eyes. Her name was Ma'ari, and she had studied alien customs for over 50 years. "You say she is Sireni?" she asked, sipping tea. Jax nodded. "Yes, her name is Lyra. I think I scared her." "What did you do, child?" "I didn't do anything," Jax said. "She said something by accident. She said, 'I love you.' Then she ran away." Mari raised an eyebrow. "She said it? Out loud?" "Yeah." Her translator repeated it. but it looked like she didn't mean to say it. Mari leaned back in her chair. Sereni do not say those words easily. If she said them, even by mistake, it means they were in her heart. But she ran, Jax said. She looked ashamed. She was not ashamed of the feeling, Mari said gently. She was afraid of what it meant, afraid of how you would react. Sereni are taught that such emotions are dangerous, a sign of weakness. If she said it, she is likely in conflict with everything she was taught. Jax looked down. So what do I do? Mari smiled. You wait. You be kind. You show her not with words, but with patience. Let her see that human emotions are not shameful. Let her decide when she's ready. Jax nodded slowly. Thank you. Back at the docking bay, Lyra sat on the floor of her ship, hugging her knees. Her eyes stared at the metal wall in front of her, but her thoughts were far away. She had dreamed of exploring the galaxy. She had wanted to learn about other races, other ways of life. But now, she felt like she had made a mistake. Why did the words come out? Was it the way he smiled? The way he helped her, without asking anything in return? Lyra touched the side of her face. It was still warm. She had never blushed before. Not like that. She wanted to talk to him again, but her fear held her back. Then a soft sound came from her console. A message. She tapped the screen. It was a short video from Jax. In the video, Jax stood in front of her ship. He looked nervous but calm. Hey, Lyra, I don't know what you meant yesterday, and maybe it wasn't what it sounded like. But I'm not laughing. I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. He looked at the camera, his voice soft. I've met a lot of people in this galaxy. Some were friendly, some weren't. But you're different. You ask questions, you listen, you care. He held up a small silver charm. It was a lucky gear he always carried. This is something I keep with me. It reminds me to stay brave, even when I'm confused. I want you to have it. Not as a gift of love, just as a sign that I'm still here. He placed the charm on a box beside her ship. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'll listen. Then, the screen went dark. Lyra stared at the message. Her fingers touched the screen again and again. Her heart was racing. He didn't laugh. He didn't run. He stayed. Lyra stood slowly. She walked down the ramp of her ship and looked around. The box was still there. On it sat the little silver gear, shining in the sun. She picked it up and held it close. No one had ever waited for her before. That evening, as the stars appeared in the sky, Jax sat on a bench near the docking bay. He looked tired, but peaceful. Suddenly, he heard soft footsteps. He looked up. Lyra stood a few feet away, holding the charm in her hand. Her face was still a bit violet, but her eyes were clear. I watched your message, she said quietly. I meant every word, Jax replied. She nodded slowly, then took a step closer. I was afraid, she whispered, but I don't want to hide anymore. Jax smiled gently. I'm glad you're here. Lyra looked into his eyes. I don't fully understand my feelings, she said, but I want to. That's enough, Jax said. One step at a time. They stood there under the stars, two different worlds reaching across the space between them. Not with fear, but with hope. Lyra didn't speak for a long time after she returned Jax's lucky charm. She just stood beside him in silence, eyes looking up at the stars. Jax didn't press her with questions. He only sat beside her, quiet, calm, and waiting. I left. My home, Lyra finally said, her voice soft like a whisper. Not because I wanted adventure. I left because I was different. Jax turned to look at her. In Sereni culture, she continued, we are taught to be quiet, careful, and emotionless. Love is dangerous. It can change people. Our leaders say it leads to bad choices. But isn't love a good thing? Jax asked gently. For humans, maybe, Lyra said. For us, love is considered a storm. Beautiful, yes, but storms destroy. I was warned as a child to never speak such words. Jax leaned forward. So why did you say it? Lyra held the silver gear in her hands. Because I felt it. I didn't plan it. The words came on their own. And when I saw your face, I panicked. Jax gave a soft chuckle. I was shocked, yeah, but not scared, just surprised. I thought you would laugh, she said, or think I was weak. Jax shook his head. No, I think you're brave. Lyra's eyes widened. You said something no one in your world dares to say. That's not weakness, Lyra. That's strength. She looked down, her fingers curling tightly around the charm. I want to learn more, she said quietly. About humans. About feelings. About you. Jax smiled. I'll teach you anything you want. You just have to promise one thing. What? Don't run next time. Lyra blinked. Then slowly, she smiled. Just a little. It was the first real smile Jax had seen from her. I promise, she said. But peace never lasted long in the galaxy. Later that week, while Jax was working inside his repair bay, a shadow fell over his workbench. He looked up to see a tall, armored alien standing in the doorway. The figure wore black and red armor, with sharp lines and glowing red eyes. His name was Commander Thrall, a bounty hunter known across several systems. I heard there's a Scifi girl here, he said in a deep, cold voice. Jax stood up slowly. Why are you looking for her? Thrall smiled with sharp teeth. Some Scifi nobles want her back. They say she broke ancient traditions. She ran away, spoke forbidden words. They call her a traitor. Jax's hands clenched into fists. She didn't do anything wrong. That's not your decision, human. Give her to me and I'll be on my way. Jax stepped forward. She's not yours to take. Thrall's smile disappeared. His voice turned dark. Then stay out of the way. You don't want to make enemies with the wrong people. Without another word, the bounty hunter turned and walked out. Jax didn't waste time. He ran straight to Lyra's ship. Lyra sat near the control panel, going through Jax's old messages. She smiled quietly, watching the one where he gave her the lucky charm. Her heart beat faster every time she heard his voice. Suddenly, the alarm on her screen turned red. Warning, target lock detected. Before she could react, Jax burst in through the hatch. Lyra, you need to move your ship now! She stood up. What's happening? Someone's after you. A bounty hunter named Thrall. He says the Scifi. Government sent him. Lyra's skin turned pale blue again, but her eyes hardened. They want to silence me, she said. If I stay quiet, they win. But if you stay here, Jax said, you could get hurt. We need a plan. Lyra looked at the control screen. My ship is fast, but his weapons are stronger. Then we'll need more than just speed, Jax said, thinking quickly. Do you trust me? Lyra looked into his eyes. Yes. Then let's fight smart. Jax ran back to his repair bay and grabbed every tool, part, and gadget he could carry. He placed them in Lyra's ship and started working. What are you doing? Lyra asked. I'm upgrading your defense grid, Jax said, and adding an energy decoy. If we do it right, you'll vanish before Thrall can fire a shot. Lyra's eyes sparkled with awe. You can do that? Jax smirked. You forget. I'm the best mechanic on this rock. As Jax worked, Lyra helped him, handing tools and rerouting power systems. Their hands brushed once or twice. Every time it happened, both of them paused for a second longer than needed. Outside, the air grew tense. Thrall's ship hovered above the port, scanning for her signal. Inside the silver ship, Jax finally sealed the last panel. All right, fire her up. Lyra sat in the pilot's chair and pressed the controls. The ship hummed, then vanished from radar just as Thrall's scanner passed by. He's confused, Jax said, watching the screen. Good, let's keep it that way. But Lyra didn't take off. Why aren't you flying away? Jax asked. Lyra looked back at him. Because if I leave now, I leave you behind. You have to go, Lyra. It's not safe for you here. I don't want to run anymore, she said. And I don't want you to get hurt, Jax replied. Silent pause passed between them. I'll come back, she said. I promise. Jax nodded. I'll wait. Lyra stood up, then stepped closer. Her voice was soft but clear. Last time, I ran after I said it. This time I won't. Then she leaned in and gently placed her forehead against his, Scifi style of affection. Her eyes closed for a moment. Jax didn't move. He only smiled, and then she was gone. The ship rose silently, then disappeared into the stars. Back at the docking bay. Thrall's scanner beeped. He looked around, angry. Where did she go? He growled. He stormed toward Jax's repair bay, but by then Jax was already back at work, acting like nothing had happened. Thrall stood inches away from him. You helped her escape. Jax didn't even look up. Prove it! Thrall growled again, but he knew there was nothing he could do. No proof, no ship, no target. He turned and left the spaceport in rage. That night, Jax sat alone under the stars again. He didn't know when Lyra would return. He didn't know if she'd ever be safe. But he held her lucky charm in his hand, the one she gave back before she left. And in his heart, he knew she meant it. 2 weeks passed. Jax still worked at the spaceport on Veltra 9. He fixed broken engines, rewired control panels, and tightened loose parts. But his mind wasn't fully focused. Not since Lyra left. Each night, he sat on the same bench under the stars, watching the sky, waiting. Many workers at the port asked him where the blue-skinned alien girl had gone. Jax always gave the same answer. She's out there, he'd say, doing what's right. But inside he worried. Was she safe? Was she alone? Did Thrall find her? He held her silver charm in his hand every night, hoping it would guide her back. Far away, on a moon covered in glowing trees and deep lakes, Lyra met secretly with 3 other Scifi. They were rebels like her, outcasts. Each of them had been punished for showing emotions or questioning their leaders. We heard what you did, Lyra, said one of them, a female named Kale. You told a human you loved him? Lyra nodded. It slipped out. But I didn't regret it. You're brave, Kyle said. The elders would exile you forever if they found out. They already have, Lyra replied. Now I want to change things. One of the rebels, a tall male named Vren, looked uneasy. We are few. The High Council has soldiers, ships, rules carved in stone. But hearts can be stronger than stone, Lyra said. Our people need to feel again. They need to see. That love is not a curse. It's a gift. Kyle leaned forward. What are you thinking? I want to send a message, Lyra said, to every Scifi home. A call for change. Back on Veltra 9, Jax heard news of strange activity in Scifi space. Pirate groups had gone silent. Communication towers were being hacked. Secret messages were being shared across the Scifi network. And then one night it happened. All across the galaxy, every Scifi screen lit up with a soft blue glow. A calm voice filled the air. It was Lyra. My name is Lyra of House Varen, she said. I was born to follow rules, to hide my heart, to live without feeling. But I broke those rules, and I am not sorry. The screen showed her standing in a forest of glowing light. Her silver eyes were steady, her voice strong. I met a human. He showed me something no teacher ever did. He showed me that love is not weakness. It is strength. It is courage. The video changed, briefly showing Jax, smiling as he handed her the silver charm. I know many of you feel the same, she continued. You hide your hearts. You are afraid. But no more. The time has come to feel again, to live truly. Then the screen went dark. The galaxy responded quickly. The Scifi High Council was furious. They declared Lyra a traitor. They sent fleets to hunt her. They blamed humans for her corruption. But something unexpected happened. Young Scifi across. Many worlds began to speak out. They repeated her message. They asked questions. Some even left their homes, searching for answers beyond their quiet world. The council's grip began to shake. Meanwhile, Jax became a target. A group of Scifi soldiers arrived at Veltra 9. Not bounty hunters this time, official forces. They demanded that the human mechanic be arrested for emotional interference. Jax stood calmly as they surrounded his repair bay. I didn't force her to feel anything, he said. She chose it. You taught her dangerous ideas, said the lead officer. No, Jax replied. She already had those ideas. I just listened. The soldiers tried to take him, but the other workers, humans, aliens, robots, stood around Jax in defense. He didn't do anything wrong, said a massive insectoid engineer. Leave him alone, added a short robot with glowing green eyes. The soldiers, outnumbered and surrounded, stepped back. They left in silence. Jax let out a breath of relief. He knew things were getting serious now. Then, one night, Jax woke to a sound outside. He grabbed his jacket and ran to the docking bay. A sleek, silver ship had just landed. The ramp opened, and there she was, Lyra. She stepped down slowly, her eyes scanning the area. When she saw Jax, her face lit up. Jax didn't say a word. He just walked to her and hugged her tightly. I was afraid you'd never come back, he whispered. I promised I would, she replied. They stood together in silence for a moment. Then Lyra pulled back. Things are changing, Jax. My people are waking up. I saw your message, he said. It was powerful. Now the council wants to crush the movement, she said. But they can't stop it, Jax nodded. So what's next? We fight, Lyra said. Not with weapons, but with truth. The next day, Lyra gave a speech on Veltra 9. Aliens from many races gathered to hear her. She spoke about love, about fear, about the beauty of being honest. News spread fast. Other Scifi joined her. Diplomats, artists, scientists, all stood beside her. The High Council sent another message. Surrender or be destroyed. But this time, many Scifi ships refused to fire. Some turned away. Some even joined Lyra's side. Commander Thrall, the bounty hunter, returned too. But this time, he wasn't angry. He landed near Jax's repair bay and stepped out slowly. I was paid to find her, he said, but I saw her message. I saw... What's happening? Jax stood ready. What do you want? I want peace, Thrall said. And maybe a better galaxy. Then he dropped his weapon and walked away. That night, Lyra and Jax sat on the rooftop of a tall building. The stars above seemed brighter. The air was warm. The wind, gentle. Lyra rested her head on Jax's shoulder. You were the first one who made me feel safe, she said. And you were the first one who made me believe love could change a world, Jax replied. Lyra smiled. I don't want to hide anymore. You don't have to, Jax said, holding her hand. Not with me. They looked up together, watching the stars. Hope was spreading, planet by planet, heart by heart. And it all began with one simple mistake. 3 small words spoken by accident, and the courage to stop running. The sun rose slowly over Veltra 9. The golden light touched the metal towers, spaceport hangars, and the long lines of starships resting on the ground. Everything looked calm, but change had already begun. Lyra stood at the edge of the landing platform, her silver eyes watching the horizon. She looked different now, stronger, more confident. Her long blue coat moved with the wind, and the silver charm Jax gave her hung proudly around her neck. Behind her, a small crowd was gathering. Scifi rebels, human engineers, alien supporters, and even former bounty hunters all had come to support the movement. They weren't holding weapons. They were holding signs, tools, and peace banners. Their goal was not war. It was unity. Jax walked up beside her, holding 2 cups of warm spiced tea. "Morning," he said, handing her one. Lyra smiled. "You're up early." "I never sleep well when I know something big is about to happen." She took a sip and looked around. "They're all here." "Yeah," Jax nodded. "Because of you." Lyra shook her head. "Because of us." At the same time, across the stars on the Scifi homeworld, the High Council sat in their tall crystal tower. Their faces were grim. Their control was slipping. Screens around the room showed thousands of Scifi people gathering in the cities. Young ones were singing Lyra's message. Elders were questioning old traditions. Some soldiers had even removed their badges. One council member slammed his fist on the table. "This rebellion must end now. Send the warships to Veltra 9. But the leader of the council, an old Scifi with golden eyes, raised a hand. "War will only prove her right. The more we fight love, the stronger it grows." There was silence. Another council member whispered, "So what do we do?" The old leader stood slowly. "We speak to her, one final time." Back on Veltra 9, a strange signal came through Lyra's communicator. She picked it up. "This is Council Leader Arvin," the voice said. "Lyra of House Veyron. We request a meeting. No weapons, just words." Lyra glanced at Jax. He nodded. "Tell them I'll come," Lyra said, "and I won't come alone." Later that day, a grand hall on the Scifi homeworld opened its doors to something it had never seen before, a human guest. Jax walked beside Lyra, his eyes wide at the glowing walls and floating lights. Scifi nobles whispered as they passed. "Is that him? A human? In the great hall?" They walked together like equals. Lyra kept her head high. She was not afraid anymore. Inside the hall, the High Council waited. Arvin, the oldest member, stepped forward. "Lyra," he said, "you have broken many laws. Do you deny it?" "I broke silence," she answered. "I broke fear, and I found truth." Arvin looked at Jax. "And this human? What is he to you?" Lyra didn't hesitate. "He is my friend, my heart, and my proof." "Proof of what?" "That love does not destroy," she said. "It builds. I am still Scifi, but I am also more, because I allowed myself to feel." The room went quiet. Then Arvin did something unexpected. He stepped down from the council platform and walked toward her. "You are brave, Lyra, and foolish, but maybe that is what we need." He turned to the others. "Let us not punish her. Let us listen." Over the next few days, things began to change on the Scifi homeworld. Slowly, carefully, the ban on public emotion was lifted in some cities. A new learning center opened to teach about other cultures, including humans. Lyra and Jax were asked to stay and help guide the peaceful transition. They agreed, but on one condition. "No one is forced to feel anything," Lyra said. "Feelings must come freely." The council agreed. One evening, Jax and Lyra walked through a glowing Scifi garden. Strange flowers lit up as they passed, changing color with every footstep. Lyra stopped near a tall silver tree and looked at Jax. "When I first met you," she said, "I didn't understand you. And now I don't understand how. I lived without you." Jax smiled. "Funny. I was thinking the same thing." She reached for his hand. "I want to visit more worlds, speak to more people, show them that we are not so different." "Then let's do it," Jax said. "Together." She nodded. "Together." They left the Scifi world soon after, in the same ship they first met on. But now, the ship had a name. Unity. They traveled from planet to planet, giving talks, helping outposts, repairing ships, and spreading hope. Lyra spoke in calm, powerful words. Jax fixed broken things and made people smile. On one planet, they helped stop a war by teaching both sides how to listen. On another, they saved a ship of lost children drifting through space. And everywhere they went, people asked the same question. How did this start? And Lyra always gave the same answer with a soft smile and gentle voice. I said something by accident, but it was true. Back at the spaceport on Veltra 9, an old bench still sat near the docking bay. Jax's repair bay had been closed. A small sign was left behind, "Gone exploring," with the girl who changed everything. Above it, a tiny charm hung from a string, silver, shaped like a gear, the same charm that once brought two hearts together.